It was good. Guys got 98 plays. No one was hurt, so felt good about it. We were pretty good. Didn't have many penalties, and we had Big 12 officials there, so that's kind of another good part of it or especially in your first scrimmage. So I was pleased.
How much are you getting the refs in so far in the preseason?
Pardon me?
Getting the referees in so far in the preseason?
Well, we generally what we usually get is Big 12 officials a couple times through our two major scrimmages, and then outside of that, we get some guys who come out about 3-4 other days and, try and call it like they would a game.
Have you done the seminar with the players on the new targeting?
Not yet. Not yet. That's coming Thursday.
Who's doing that for you?
I have a DVD from the Big 12 office. Along with, we'll have Big 12 officials that day, and have them explain it to the players. How they see it and what, how they'll try and judge it.
Any update on Quincy Russell? Is he expected to be here this week?
Yes, I think, from what I understand, all work is finished and handed in, and just wait for the schools to make sure that, however they do it, process it all. So we're hopeful that's any day now.
Does that just become a University of Michigan thing? You don't have to worry about clearinghouse issues with the JUCO like that?
I believe so, yeah. It's really just their school, his school now, and so we're close.
At that position, how much behind is he?
Not very. It's, I don't want to say easy to learn, but basically it's just about technique and, the learning part of it. What he's going to need to do is really, he'll learn that fairly quickly, and from what we understand visiting with them and people he's worked with, he's worked really hard and is in really good shape. So, so if that's the case, then he'll pick it up rather quickly.
When it comes to announcing a quarterback, forget the media side of it.
It's impossible to forget the media side of it.
When you tell your team or tell those guys, what's the process? Do you have a team meeting and say it? Do you tell the individual guys and then tell the team? How does that work?
We visit with the individual players, and then the players start realizing who's getting all the number one reps.
So you don't have a formal announcement to this team.
No, we don't do that. Then that would be treating that position different than every other. We don't tell them who's going to start at D end or at linebacker or at wide receiver. So, so there's no sense in doing it with them.
Well, except the position is different.
To you.
Well, I think it is. Well, I mean, it is to
On
you
the
too.
team, it isn't.
I mean, it's different. It's a different position. I mean, if you're the second team wide receiver,
Well, yeah,
you may
but I
get
mean,
30 snaps. If you're the second,
D-line's different than wide receiver. Sure, I mean, they're all different.
I mean,
But as far as how we treat everybody, they're not.
I'm just saying, with the quarterback though, it's a different position. It's different. To be told you're the second team quarterback is different than being told you're the second team tailback.
Not necessarily, because next week you may be the first team tailback. If you play better than the other guy, or if you have a better week of practice and the other guy junks it up, then they can always change. So, in this room, that's not the case. No one's treated differently than anyone else.
Do you get the feeling any of them are antsy just to know?
No.
Any chance you'd play two?
There's
Then I'm
always,
not
you
talking
know.
about a Belldozer type situation. I mean,
Hey, there's always that chance.
Is there any drawback at all in your mind of waiting another week or two to name that kind of position?
No.
What's the positive? The biggest positive to you, that competition sort of where players see that kind of competition going on, and there's some carryover to other positions, or
What are you asking me?
what are the benefits if they're? I mean,
They're both being prepared to play, as well as Cody Thomas as well. But at the end of the day, I keep saying this isn't our first rodeo. We've
Right.
done this a lot over, we've won 8 Big 12 championships with 6 different quarterbacks, so it hasn't really hurt us a lot. So, You know, we're trying to get them all ready to play.
The first time you went through this, you talk about how you've been through this before, when Hibble and White in '01. I don't know if you remember this, there was, at one point, Sports Illustrated came out with a report that there was dissension among the staff about who the guy was. You guys all laughed it
They
off.
did?
Yeah. I didn't remember
I
that
didn't
either
know
until
that.
I found it.
I didn't know that.
You guys all laughed it off and said,
Well, sure, because
No.
that wasn't the case.
right. But there's more,
Just because it's written doesn't mean it's true.
I understand.
Okay.
And there's more places it can be written now, obviously, than there was in 2001.
Or just because it's said doesn't mean it's true either. So,
But you-
we see a lot of, and hear a lot of that.
Do you have to be conscious of that kind of stuff, though? I mean, people creating something when there's nothing over something is
No, because in this room, they know that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you'd be surprised at how little these guys and we hear
Mm-hmm.
and read. So, no, there's, you know, I've complimented you. You look through the years with us, our quarterbacks in all these kind of situations have been great friends and support one another, and so we've, so no, I don't feel they're, you know, we're not at all worried about any of that.
Any injuries, from the scrimmage or otherwise?
No one got injured scrimmage. We've got a few sprains, nothing serious, nothing to speak about.
How's Trey?
Pardon me?
How's Trey McGuire?
He'll be okay, just a sprain.
Has DJ and his family made a decision on what he wants to do?
Yeah, I'll announce that tomorrow or Wednesday.
Down in Dallas, you thought Colton Bestard had a good spring and off-season, thought he might really make an impact. What, a couple weeks into practice, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, well, Colton's really made a big move, making plays, playing strong, and playing really well. Really excited about what he's doing. He's gonna have an impact for sure.
Is this the deepest group of running backs you've had? I know there's been times where you've had a pretty deep one, and then that depth gets cut down pretty quickly for injury or whatever other reason.
Well, again, you know, it's you know, it's a good group. How the deepest, I don't know about that. Like I said, I brought up the situation a few years ago when we had, you know, 4 or 5 guys, and a couple decided to quit because a young guy was, you know, kind of played, you know, was moved up in front of him because of how he played, and then he ended up transferring. So you never know where that's going to all go.
We had a chance to talk to Alex Ross today. Can you talk a little bit about his impact in fall camp?
Yeah, Alex, he was a guy that really stood out in the scrimmage. You know, speed and powerful. He's really doing well. He's playing well, so hopefully that'll continue.
He said that he never asked for the number in 28 when he was in high school. They gave it to him. Never asked for that number 28 here, and you guys gave it to him. I thought it was kind of funny that he had a running back. Where I asked him how much grief he got being a running back here wearing that number. He said he doesn't even wear it because of 80.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't, you know, here we're one of those places, and say it modestly, but I mean, we go retiring or you know, numbers or taking numbers off the shelf. We don't have many to choose from. I mean, there's a lot of great players through here that have worn a lot of numbers, and like I said, everyone wanted to see 14 everywhere, and I remember kidding, I give my talk to the players about having some humility when Sam was here, and I said, you see the whole place is wearing 14. Well, I go, it isn't just because of you. There's probably some still wearing it because of Coach Heupel, you know, so there's, anyway, you know, AD's, you know, he's glad to see someone wearing it. And we don't look at it that way. I don't think anyone on the team does. Not just his, but any number, you know.
You brought Zach Sanchez up the other day after the scrimmage.
Zach played really well, and he continues to really do a good job. And all those guys are really, I couldn't be more pleased. Young DBs are all really good. The young backers are good. The young D linemen are good. It's a really good class. Offensively, all of them are really showing up too. So.
Did your D tackles do well Saturday morning?
They did, for the most part, yeah. Excited how they're all playing and keep making good improvement.
Talk a little about Gabe Lynn's strengths on the football field.
Gabe is, again, has a lot of experience now. Playing in the deep position is really comfortable doing it. You know, he's playing smart, making good tackles. He had a good day the other day.
Are Grissom and Tapper running as your starters at defensive end right now?
They kind of, we're rotating a bunch of guys in there for the most part, but, you know, they can change out too. Some other guys are, you know, sometimes Chuka can play out there, sometimes inside, so. But those guys are playing pretty well.
Bob, what are the,
You settled at punter?
Yeah, I say I am. You know, Jed went out there the other day and hit it great. I don't know, he probably averaged 41, 42 with, you know, with well over 4-second hang time, which you'll take that every punt. And I think we punted 17 times, I think Coach said, and hit him really well. And then, but Jack Steed went out there, young guy, and he averaged 40 or 41, and with a lot of good hang time. So it was really good to see them both hit it so well. So I'd say Jed is just timing-wise and all where he, you know, is probably is more ahead for sure, but and has more experience. But I was really excited to see Jack, you know, do well.
When you look at Trevor compared to last spring, is he a quarterback that's playing at a noticeably higher level than he was even then?
Definitely. And that's not uncommon for a young guy. The more having a big summer, they throw the ball all summer. Now he's so many more practices into it. He's just more settled in and more sure of himself, and he's definitely playing that way.
Do you say the same thing about Blake, or is it just he didn't have
Yeah.
as high a ceiling maybe to reach that?
Well, I think,
Or wasn't coming from
yeah,
as far
no,
behind?
Blake's doing great too, but yeah, just when you're really young, you know, I think that second year is where you make the biggest jump, you know, and you know, and that's why you have to keep giving them opportunities and snaps.
Bob, what are challenges of playing in the Big 12 that people outside the conference might not realize or take for granted?
Well, the obvious ones, the quarterbacks, the offenses, the tempo. You know, those are challenging in this league. You look at the NFL's got a whole bunch of the guys that have been through this league that are quarterbacks, and again, you look at the way people spread it out and the tempo that they use. It's tough to deal with.
You mentioned the quarterbacks. It's kind of a different situation in the league where, you know, one year you had Sam Bradford, Colt McCoy, Graham Harrell, all these guys coming back, and then this year it's a little bit different where a bunch of new quarterbacks in the league. How do you think that might affect the league race this year?
We'll see. You never know. There'd be a bunch of names that you're all talking about next year that they're all back. All these guys that are going to show up this year, you know. So, you know, so it'll be a factor, you know, whatever quarterback plays the best, most consistent, avoids those bad plays, you know, will probably, you know, will really stick out and give their team a better chance to win.
What are you going to accomplish? You announced that Reed was being elevated to a new position. And I know Jeeves, a guy that's got a lot of roots around here, has been with Mark and out in Cal. What are those positions going to help you, I don't know, further establish in your program?
Well, just what their job titles say. They're going to work to, you know, help us in the player, you know, and the recruiting side of things.
Is that, I mean, can you give us any details on, you know, what they'll be doing that maybe you haven't been able to do before?
Well, you have more hands on, you know, and so there's more hands to help process all the information and get to coaches.